Welcome to Salesology, conversations with sales leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. When you're ready to transform your sales for today's transforming market, we've got you covered with your host, the queen of cold calling and founder of Salesology, award-winning author, speaker, sales trainer, and coach, Wendy Weiss.
Hi, welcome to Salesology, conversations with sales leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. And I'm your host, Wendy Weiss. I am the founder of Salesology and the Salesology Prospecting Method. I'm also known as the queen of cold calling. And today we have a very special guest. We have Samantha Riley, and her company is Samantha Riley Global, and she's an authority positioning strategist. She's a best-selling author. She is a speaker, and she is the host of the Influence by Design podcast. In the spirit of full disclosure, I have been a guest on that podcast. And Samantha has built multiple businesses over the past 28 years. She grew her first seven-figure business from the ground up before she was 30, which is pretty darn impressive. And Sam now works with experts and change makers to become the unapologetic leader in their industry so they can earn millions and impact millions. I love that. Welcome, Sam.
Thanks, Wendy. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, so let's begin at the beginning. I just shared the official story, so now I want to hear the backstory. How did you get to where you are today? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I started my journey quite early. I was only 20 years old. I was in a good government job, the kind of job that your parents are like, yes, our daughter's made it. I was working in the finance department, which is so far from my zone of genius. It's not funny. Like data, I love reading reports, but to do it all day, every day just bores me to tears. So anyway, I was sitting down at my desk one day, and everyone else in our office, and it was a very open plan office, so you could see like 500 people in our office, and everyone was, I'm going to say older. They were older than my parents at the time, probably around my age now. And I looked around and not one person was smiling. And I just had this like moment where I thought, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm looking into my future and I don't like what I see. This is not what I signed up for the rest of my life. So I went home to my husband. I was married extremely young. I had my two children extremely young. And I just went, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to start a business. I'd always had a dream to start a business in the dance industry. That's something that you and I have got in common. I danced all my life. I wanted to open a dance studio. So I did. I pretty much finished up there in the next few months, opened a dance studio. Within roughly about 6 months, we realized there was a gap in the market for dancewear retailers in our area. So we opened up a dancewear store so that our students could purchase their dance uniforms. That's how I started in business. That one dance store turned into 3. We were the top, we were the number 1 retailer in our state in Australia. That was what I did for over 20 years until 2010. I actually separated from my husband. And that's when I had another sliding doors moment where I decided that I'd been in that industry for 20 years. I wanted a change, and I wanted to do something where I didn't have to essentially put a key in the door and turn up every day to be able to run the business. Even though both of those businesses at the time were run by management, if something happened, I was still the one that kind of had to step in and be there. So I wanted something where I could travel the world, work on the net. It was quite early in those days. So that's when I went into coaching, which originally was health and wellness coaching. I used to run retreats to help people, live this life by design. And the number one question they always ask me is, how do I start a business? And it just morphed into business coaching because that's what people were wanting from me. And as it turned out, that's the thing that I loved the most. So, here we are. Now that's what I do, help people to build their profiles online, to leverage their IP, turn it into online programs, and to grow their businesses.
I love that. And I'm very curious about something. I have interviewed a number of people that started out somewhere in the performing arts.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed Devin Roberts of the uh, Technology Association of Oregon, and Julie Hansen, acting for sales. She's a former actress. Devin's a former actor. Michael Neely, uh, Authority Academy. He is also
Mm-hmm.
a former actor. You're a dancer. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
dancer.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think your dance background taught you about business?
Oh my goodness. No one has ever asked me this question, and I love it. There are so many different things. One of them is its resilience and the art of mastery, because we just knew, from the time I was 3 to the time I left, you walked into a ballet class and you did plies every single class, and you didn't say, oh my goodness, I'm bored with this, I'm not going to do it anymore. We've done it hundreds of thousands of times, and you do it over and over and over, and every time you want it to be better. You're always trying to show up and be better. And I think that has been one of the biggest things that served me in business, because that we have to repeat and refine constantly all day, every day. And I think that there are so many people that come into entrepreneurship and they try something once and say, oh, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work like that. You have to layer upon layer upon layer and refine and try it again and twist and turn. Not in actual real life twist and turn, but on the journey. So I think that is definitely one of the things. One of the other things is, as a teacher and teaching children, I used to have to use metaphors a lot, because 4 and 5-year-old, 6-year-old children don't have very good understandings of their bodies. So we have to teach using a lot of metaphors. Well, being able to move that into my coaching, even though now I'm working with adults who are experts, they're really, really, really smart at what they do. Just being able to explain a concept with a metaphor, or to break it down into small parts, means that I'm able to explain that concept very easily. And that's something that a lot of my clients tell me, is that I'm able to explain it so that they can understand it very quickly, which a lot of people can't. And that is definitely related back to my dance background.
And I'm wondering, you mentioned the word resilience also,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm wondering, because I know in my experience of working with adults,
Uh-huh.
sales training, skills training, coaching, um, having been to dance auditions,
Mm-hmm.
we have a different concept of what the word rejection means. And
Oh, so much.
so many business owners uh, feel that they're always being rejected.
Mm-hmm.
And could you speak to that? I read one of your posts in LinkedIn, and you had a number of lessons that you learned in your 30 years
Yeah,
in business. But the one that I glued in on was that sales are the lifeblood of your business. If you're not
absolutely.
selling, you don't have a business. So how does
Correct.
that expert get over their fear of rejection or fear of selling, or I can't do this?
Yeah, I think that this is specifically hang on, let me try that again. So I think a lot of people, when they're selling, we're in this expert industry where we're essentially selling us in a way. We're selling our IP, we're selling what we do. And people are putting together that and who they are as a person. So when they're selling, they feel like they're selling, themselves or their self-worth, probably. And when people say, no, I don't want that, they take it personally, like they're being rejected. But that's not the case at all. When we go into an audition and we dance and we get rejected, it could be because we're not good enough. It could be just that the costume doesn't fit you. which is twice what happened to me. I was too small. I'm extremely short and I was too small. They just went, we want to take you, but we don't have a costume that fits you because it's just the way it is. And it's like, okay, all right, we'll just move along to the next audition. It's not a personal thing. It's not saying, no, we don't want you because you're ugly, because you're mean, because you're nasty, because you're stupid. It's not any of those things. It's just because you're not a fit at this time. And that is what happens when someone says, no, I don't want to purchase. It's because your product or service isn't a fit for them at this time. It's actually got nothing to do with you at all. And it's got everything to do with them and their needs and their wants. So I think that that has certainly helped to be able to understand that difference. But I think one of the other things as a dancer, which plays into this as well, is that as dancers, we have to be really, really good at getting feedback, because it's that feedback that helps us to be the masters of our art. So, and being told, no, we don't want to buy your thing is just a feedback. So to understand that helps us to also think, how can we sell that differently next time? What did we say that we could have said a little bit differently? Maybe I didn't explain that well. I think we've got this really, it's a learned thing to always be taking this feedback, not personally, and thinking, how can I show up better next time? And so I think it plays into both of those things.
Yeah, I agree. So I want to shift gears for a moment, because I was also reading about some of the things that you kind of teach people to shift from knowing some things to being known for some things.
Yeah.
And you talk about influence, and you talk about authority, and you talk about thought leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference?
The
What
difference
do these
between
things mean? No.
Yeah, the difference between knowing some things and being known for something is that the people that I work with, and anyone that wants to be known as the go-to leader or in their industry, is they need to be known for one thing. They need to be not the master. They need to be not the master of everything. It's not the people that have got on their business card, I'm a Reiki master and I have this modality and I have that modality and I'm a yoga teacher and I'm not zoning in on wellness. That was just the first thing that came into my mind. But, the people that do everything for all people, whenever someone comes in front of them, they say, yep, I can help you with that. I can help you with that. So where this becomes a little bit tricky as experts, most of the time we actually can help just about anyone with anything. So it's not that you can't, because most of us can. I think it was Richard Branson that said, the art of entrepreneurship is jumping off a cliff and building the plane on the way down. If someone comes to you, just like, yep, I can fix that. It doesn't mean that we can't do that, because in the back end of our business, or, where we're away from the spotlight, we can do that. But when we're showing up, we need to be saying, this is what we do, and be known for that. Because otherwise, the social media, the online world is a very noisy place. If we're constantly scrolling through and seeing you doing one thing one day and another thing another day and another thing the next day, we're unable to refer you. We're unable to come to you if we've got that exact problem. We're unable to book you for a keynote speaker at an industry event, whatever it is. But when you are known for something, when you are known for that one thing, like if someone says to me, I need a sales trainer for my sales team, I'm like, yep, that's Wendy Weiss. I'll introduce you to Wendy. It's not, I saw that Jane was talking about sales the other day, even though she does something else. It doesn't work like that. So we need to really stick our stake in the sand and say, this is what we do, so that people know what it is that we do. Like I said, it's so that we can get clients, be referred, be really known as that industry and get the opportunities that we want.
So what is the difference, though, between influence and authority and thought leadership? Are they all the same thing? Or they're all
No.
related things?
They're related, but they're all different. So influence is how we're using our platform to influence the decisions and the actions of other people. So I believe that we all influence to make a greater impact. Authority is being absolutely known for that one thing. I am the authority in positioning. You are the authority in sales. This is the thing that we're known for. And thought leadership is really unpacking our IP and being able to put it into thoughts that are unique to us. So, of course, there's other people that talk about what we do. And when I say we, I mean collectively that we do. But what is it that makes what we talk about a little bit different? What expertise are we bringing into this equation? What experience? What metaphors? What frameworks? And how are we doing that? If we think about, resilience and bravery and courage, I automatically think of Brene Brown, and the way that she talks about those topics is very, very different to the way that other people do. So we know her for that. She's an authority in courage. Her thought leadership is around the way that she puts that together and speaks about it, and she influences people by the way that she shares on her platforms. So that's an example of how we can bring all three of those into what we do.
Okay. This is great stuff, Samantha. We are going to pause now for a word from our sponsor, but when we come back, I want to ask you, I know you've got 3 key principles that you teach, and I'm wondering if you could lay them out for us. And then also, I want to get some before and afters from you. If you'd be good enough to share some success stories of some of the folks you've worked with over the years. But now we are going to pause for a word from our sponsor, Salesology, 81 tools to grow your sales and your business faster, more easily, and more profitably. Are you stuck because you can't find the right sales and marketing resources to help you grow your business? Or maybe you're sick of spending hours hunched over your computer researching and looking for what you need instead of selling and generating revenue. Or maybe you're just frustrated and confused because you can't find what you need at an affordable price. Well, never fear, because Salesology has you covered. We've done the research, we've vetted all the sales and marketing tools, so you can save hours of work because you no longer have to hunt for what you need. You can download 81 tools to grow your sales and your business faster, more easily, and more profitably. It's free. Just click on the link in the show notes and you will be glad you did. So we are back with my special guest, Samantha Riley. She is an authority positioning strategist. Her company is Samantha Riley Global. Welcome back, Samantha.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, so I was reading that you have three key principles that you teach when you're working with your clients. So I'm wondering if you could share them. I know we have limited time, but I'm wondering if you could share your 3 principles with us.
Absolutely. So we have a 9-step scale system in our business, which falls into 3 main categories. And this is the way to take your business from low 6 figures into $1 million, because in this expert industry, you really need to show up as the talent in your business, I guess. So the first piece is authority positioning, and this is to do with how you're positioned in the market and how your audience or your prospects perceive you to be positioned in the marketplace. So get really, really clear on your messaging, what it is that you do. And this is also about how you position your products and your programs so that you're able to work with more people than can just come and see you face to face. So how are you positioning your online program? The second piece is accelerated leverage. And to build any business to 7 figures, you need to be able to leverage as much as possible. This is about, what does your team look like so you're able to do more work. This is about how can you take your delivery from a one-to-one method to a one-to-many method. And it's how you can leverage the people around you, your network, things like joint partnerships and strategic partnerships, so that you can get your message to more people. And then the third piece is amplified influence, because if no one knows who you are, they can't buy from you. So this is about, writing books, having a podcast, speaking on stages, being shown in the media, all the ways that you can show up, social media, your email list, all of the pieces that have you showing up to your audience. So with those three pieces, when you put them together, this is how we take our business to $1 million in this expert industry.
I love that. Early in my career, when I first started my business, I probably got the worst business advice ever from a business coach who told me that I had to learn how to do everything. Like I should know how to set up my website, and I should learn bookkeeping, and everything. I had to learn how to do it.
Wow.
And then one day it kind of dawned on me that there was no way I could do that.
No.
And then I got some better advice, which was about creating that leverage and building a team. And so I especially resonated deep in my heart with your step on creating leverage.
Absolutely. Like reason 2,987 why you don't need, or how you're not going to grow your business. Know how to build a website. You do not need to know. And it's probably the worst thing. Oh, I'm so glad that you realized that and were able to move forward.
Yeah, it took me a while, but I did finally figure it out. So can you share some success stories, some experts that you've taken through this process, like where they started and where they ended up?
Yeah, I'd love to share a story about two of my clients. And the reason I'm going to share this story is to help you understand what authority positioning is. So these two amazing ladies came to me, and they came to me at very similar times. I'm still working with both of them now. But on paper, both of them had exactly the same qualifications. And on paper, it looked like they did exactly the same thing. They both worked in the health, wellness, fitness industry. Both of them had been working in the industry for over 20 years. Both of them had exceptionally good results from their clients. And both of them didn't have an online program, and both had successful businesses, like I said, for many years. But it was one-on-one work where they were sort of working with anyone and everyone. Neither of them had a massive passion for 100% of the clients that they were working with. They had some clients they liked, some clients that they're like, not too fussed about them. What we did was really dove into what it is that they were good at, their experience, their expertise, and we really dialed it in and went very, very deep. And what happened is one of these women came out being known as an expert, or positioned herself as an expert for women in midlife. She helps them with their hormonal profile and how to stay well during perimenopause and postmenopause. And the other like I said, they're very, very similar in what they teach, but the other positioned herself as the coach for female surfing athletes. So two very, very different niches, and both of them are absolutely killing it in their fields, because now they're really known for what they do. They are attracting all of what we call Bollinger clients. So, we talk about Bollinger clients and beer clients. We always want those Bollinger clients, those champagne clients that are the best people that we love to work with. They're attracting those people. They're doing work that they absolutely love, and they're also being known for it. So they're being called out in their industry to speak at events, as the expert on podcasts. So that's a really good example of what positioning is and how we can really dive deep into our knowledge, our experience, our expertise, and our passions to come up with something that is just so perfect for us.
That's very interesting. One of the things that I hear a lot, and I would imagine you hear it as well, is when clients are thinking about niching and niching down, they always think the market is too small. So you talked about somebody that works with women surfers. that, as somebody that knows nothing about surfing, that sounds
Yeah.
like a small market. And
Yeah,
yet,
totally.
can you speak to that, the importance of niching that narrowly?
Absolutely. When people Google search for something, so if you're a young woman and you enjoy surfing and you want to get into the World Surf League, into the qualifier circuit, you're going to Google something about that, which means that your name will come up at the top and you will go and you'll speak to that person. You're not going to Google who is anyone that teaches anything to do with exercise. So that's why we need to niche, because, and you say niche, I say niche, tomato.
Potato, potato.
Exactly. We could start singing, but we won't. It's we need to be able to position ourselves so that people who don't know us are able to find us. So this is a fear that I hear from a lot of people. I'm scared that I won't, there's not enough people or I can't attract people. But in actual fact, the opposite happens, because now, like I said before, we were talking about, if someone wants sales, I would say, well, Wendy does this. Well, if I hear across the grapevine, there's someone that wants to get into the qualifier circuit for surfing, I say, you need to speak to Tanya. She's the one that helps her clients, get into the qualifying circuit. So it helps you to attract the right clients. It helps you to get referrals from other people. Yes, the numbers are smaller, but they're better qualified. And as you know from sales, we want 5 qualified leads over 50 that could be anyone. We want those qualified leads, and that's what this is all about.
And also, if you have a very narrow niche, there aren't a lot of people that doing what you do, that enables you simply to charge a premium.
100%.
Which is also a bonus. Yeah.
100%. If it looks like from the outside that another 50 people do what you do, all of a sudden you're a commodity and your pricing can't move very well. All of a sudden you're in a position where you're in price wars because it's who's the cheapest. We don't want to be in that at all. When we position ourselves in a way that we're in this tight niche, we're very, very expert at this thing, which positions us as the best person in that industry. We are able to charge that premium price. I saw someone referring someone on Facebook the other day, and he said, look, I've got this coach, he's getting me these results. He showed his before and after photos. He said, this is the kind of person that he works with. This is why I worked with him. And he only charges $2,500. Now, this was in a fitness niche where some people would only pay, oh my goodness, like $50 a week. But he was able to charge $2,500 because it was very specific. This is exactly who I work with, and this is exactly the results that you'll expect. This is exactly the frameworks that I'm able to give you, which means that you'll get the results. So yeah, definitely niche, and don't be afraid to say, these are the only people I work with. It will work out better for you.
And the other thing that I think a lot of business owners, sales professionals don't realize, that when they have conversations with prospects, lots of times prospects will ask, have you ever worked with someone in my industry?
Yeah, exactly.
And the answer is not, oh, I work with everybody. That is not the answer. Because what they're asking, even though you may do the same thing for everybody, they all think it's different.
Yeah.
And the answer is, yes, I know your industry. I specialize in your industry.
Totally, because what that person's really asking, what they're really asking is, are you able to help me? Are you able to help me get those results? So yeah, that's what we're speaking to.
Exactly. So I know, Sam, you have a gift for our listeners. So would you share that?
Absolutely. So I have a free resource to help you position yourself as the standout expert in your industry. That's what we've been talking about today. You can't be paid to be you unless people know who you are. So I've got a blueprint to, when I talk about the 5 foundational principles to position yourself as the standout expert in your niche, in your industry, whatever you want to say, so that you have the credibility to attract your Bollinger clients or your Champagne clients. So in that resource, one of the other things I share is also the 3 biggest mistakes that I see people making that have them not able to move into that space. So you can get a copy of that over at samanthariley.global/expert. But I know that you will also be putting a link for that in the show notes, Wendy.
We are indeed. So as soon as you finish listening to this podcast, go to the show notes, click on the link. It will be there for you. And this has been a great interview, Sam. Will you put your hand over your heart and promise me that you will come back and we'll talk some more?
Absolutely, 100%. I will be back.
Okay, wonderful. So you have been listening to Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders with my special guest, Samantha Riley, the authority positioning strategist. Her company is Samantha Riley Global. And again, we will be putting the link to Samantha's gift in the show notes, so you can just go there and click on it. And if you have found value in today's podcast, then think about one business owner or one entrepreneur or one sales professional that you know that you think might also find value in listening to this podcast. And please share the link with them. And until we meet again, visualize yourself surrounded by cash, really large bills.
You've been listening to Salesology, Conversations with Sales Leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. Be sure to follow so that you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends. Tune in every week for more exciting insights and wisdom on transforming sales. And until next time, visualize yourself surrounded by cash, very large bills.